A Kansas City woman who battled COVID-19 and won, sharing her survivor story and shattering some stereotypes.
For some, it's not a big deal, but I don't know that. And so I'm taking a chance with your life to say, oh, if they get it, it's not a big deal. Who wants to play roulette with somebody's life?
Our anchor, Cynthia Newsom, joins us from her home studio with this story. Cynthia.
Yeah, I want to start with the dashboard from the World Health Organization. Here it is. And this map of the United States, when I click on it, it shows us that 11 million people, more than that, have had COVID-19 in the United States. So it's likely that most of us probably know someone who's had it. My friend, Mia Ramsey, here in Kansas City, was diagnosed in August. I asked her if she would share her life lessons and what we need to know about COVID-19, and she said yes. She's back from the brink of death. Surrounded by her husband, Daryl, and family, Mia Ramsey is smiling again.
And so how are you doing? You seem like you're
I'm great. I'm great. I feel good. Listen, I'm enjoying life, man.
Joy after enduring serious pain. COVID-19 took her breath away.
We take breathing for granted. We really do, because just the slightest movement was painstaking just to breathe. She
was rushed to St. Luke's Hospital on the Plaza on August 1st and was there for 9 days.
I was asking God, like, so this is it? Like, so this is how I'm gonna go out? This is how my life is gonna end with COVID-19.
Her story shatters claims that having COVID is not that bad.
Oh, it's just like the flu. It's just like it's not anything like that.
Is a well-known Christian singer in Kansas City and worship leader at Kingdom Word Ministries. She loves entertaining, traveling, and having fun. She understands people may be tired of social distancing, but
for me, the life lesson is safety over socializing. I don't know that I have to socialize that bad, that I'd risk my life without a mask.
Mia told me remdesivir and prayer were the 1-2 punch to knock COVID out of her system. Even though she's COVID-free, she is not free from its side effects. Watch what happens when I asked her a question.
We had a room. I'm so sorry, Cynthia. I'm trying to remember. That's one of the things. Just memory. Brain fog is one of the after effects of COVID, and so I'm trying to remember, and so I have to take my time when I'm thinking, so it doesn't look so obvious that I'm struggling right now.
Her husband, Daryl, who is also a COVID-19 survivor, understands better than anyone what Mia is experiencing. And now the entire family is working together as the healing process from COVID-19 continues. Wow, some powerful words from Mia. Thank you so much for being transparent and sharing your story. Mia also told me that she's grateful for her family all across the country and here in Kansas City. She also praised the medical team and the housekeeping staff at St. Luke's. So I want to wish Mia and her husband a fast and full recovery. I'm Cynthia Newsom, 41 Action News.
Good morning. Welcome again to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known live morning news broadcast. It is Friday, and thank God it's Friday. And we want you to continue to be able to say, thank God it's Friday, by protecting yourself, whether getting vaccinated, wearing a mask, whatever it takes to protect yourself from this COVID-19 disaster that we continue to be in. Patricia Cuffie-Jones is CEO of Diversion Entertainment. Diverge has produced over 10 shows and is focused on providing quality entertainment that challenges perspectives, promotes love, and provokes change. Patricia Jones joins us this morning. But first, of course, let us bring on the president and CEO of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis Jr. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Stacey, on this Friday morning. On behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Karen Carter Richards, our chair, representing 230 African-American owned newspapers and media companies all across America. This is another day that the Lord has made, another Friday that the Lord has made. Glad to be on Let It Be Known.
And good morning to our chair who is watching from the Houston Forward Times, Karen Carter Richards. This morning in the news, Dr. Chavis, this is a familiar story. Brown Grove, a small African-American enclave in Hanover County, Virginia, built on the backs of slaves, sits about 17 miles north of Richmond. Its rich and hardscrabble history extends back to 1870, and it's believed most residents there descended from Caroline Dobson Morris, an emancipated Black woman who died in 1944. Well, since the end of slavery in America, Virginia officials have neglected Brown Grove, splitting the community about 70 years ago with the construction of I-95, and nearly 40 years ago, they put a landfill there and a recycling center that disturbed, of course, the environment. Now, a Walgreens wants to, I'm sorry, not a Walgreens, but a Wegmans wants to build a distribution center there. And Dr. Chavis, the residents there say that it is a major environmental hazard. And on top of that, they want to build it on top of the graves of former slaves and descendants of slaves. They are objecting. The NAACP has filed a lawsuit, and they're trying to prevent this construction of this distribution center there in Brown Grove. Again, you know, the history is another attempt, it appears, to wipe out the history of foundational African Americans.
Absolutely, and we hope that the NAACP will prevail to stop another incursion, another disrespect of African American history, the legacy of slavery in Virginia. This is not only a big problem in Virginia, but it's across the United States, where we have to demand that our rights be respected, the rights of our ancestors, the rights of our foreparents be respected. And so, you know, it's an ongoing struggle, and we have to make sure that we don't lose sight not only of our history, but building a better future for all of our people. That's why the Black press is so important, because mainstream press will not lift these issues up. And I'm glad you are bringing this forward today on Let It Be Known.
Yeah, absolutely, Dr. Chavis. And while the recall of Governor Gavin Newsom in California has topped the headlines in that state, topped the political headlines, flying just under the radar is the effort to draft Congresswoman Karen Bass for mayor of Los Angeles. There's been many statements on social media, but Rachel Brashear, who organized the hashtag Karen Bass for Mayor online campaign by the California Black Women's Democratic Club, says that as we struggle just in the city of LA and just in our own communities to do that, I think Karen Bass would be really key in bringing this city and our issues together. Now, Karen Bass, the great Congresswoman out of California, she has not commented on this, but the residents have also, as we know, started a recall of the governor. But underlying all of that is this movement to draft Karen Bass for mayor of the city of Los Angeles. We know that several Democratic organizations are working together to convince Congresswoman Karen Bass to run for mayor next year. The current mayor, Garcetti, is being appointed by the Biden administration to an ambassadorship. So that's one to watch, Dr. Chavis, because we know the job that Karen Bass, the Congresswoman, has been doing and has done in her years on Congress. So we'll see what happens there.
Absolutely. We wish Congresswoman Karen Bass all the best. And of course, the citizens of Los Angeles will make the decision. I know that Karen Bass was former chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, and has a distinguished career as a member of not only of the CBC, but an effective legislator in Washington, D.C. on behalf of Los Angeles. So we will see. I think that the current mayor is going to be an ambassador, and so that leaves a void. But on terms of the recall, we're hoping that the recall is not successful in California on terms of the governorship, because that would just open the door for more voter suppression more denial of the rights of African Americans and other people of color in a big state like California. We should be gaining ground, not losing ground in these big cities. And of course, that's why voting is so important.
Yeah, and Dr. Chavis, the Urban Institute's Coronavirus Tracking Survey, a national representative survey of adults ages 18 to 64, found that Black adults were more likely than white or Hispanic to report being discriminated against or unfairly judged by a doctor or health care provider. These patterns are concerning given that healthcare disruptions and suboptimal quality that result from unfair treatment can lead people to delay or forego care, to search for a new provider, and to experience adverse health consequences, the authors of the study wrote. The report comes as COVID deaths and hospitalizations continue to soar, with people of color, of course, disproportionately affected. It also comes as many advocates and activists call more attention to the dire maternal health crisis facing Black women. So this report, of course, you can read about on blackpressusa.com and many of our member newspapers. So another example of what Black people, Black women in particular, have to face even with their healthcare providers, Dr. Chavis.
Well, again, racial discrimination. When we use the term systemic racism, the healthcare industry is not left out, it's included. Systemic racism in criminal justice, systemic racism in healthcare, systemic racism in financial services, systemic racism even in the publishing industry. Again, that's why the Black press is so vital. And particularly Black women have disproportionately have fatal consequences of the result, not only of COVID-19, but all these pre-existing conditions. And now, even with the pre-existing conditions, we find that there's racial discrimination in the provision of healthcare in some of these hospitals. And that's why we need more Black doctors, more Black nurses, more Black healthcare administrators that are African American, other persons of color, to try to reverse this systemic racism in healthcare.
Yeah, absolutely, Dr. Chavis. And one of our viewers wrote in from Facebook that we are disrespected before we're born while we live, and when we have been laid to rest. We got to stop this collective systemic racism. We got to do it together.
Absolutely.
I want to say good morning to all those watching on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and any platform that you've chosen to watch us this morning. Welcome again to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. And we also want to say good morning to our special guest. She's coming all the way from Los Angeles early in the morning, Patricia Cuffie-Jones, the CEO of Diversion Entertainment. Good morning, Patricia.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Well, good morning, Sister Patricia. Thank you for joining the Black Press of America.
Thank you for having me. Such an honor, Dr. Chavis. I'm so familiar with your work, so this is truly an honor to be on with you guys today. Stacy, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. It's early, but I'm here.
Well, thank you for getting up early with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We roused her this morning, Dr. Chavis. Patricia, tell us about Diversion Entertainment. You've had it for nearly 20 years. Tell us all about it.
Diversion Entertainment is my production company that I started in 2002. I started it with theater productions in small Black box theaters out here in LA. And then over time, that's one of my first plays that I did out here, She Won't Let Go. And over time, I've went from doing theater productions to web series. And then from that, I went to producing my first TV series on All Black called Stuck With You.
Yeah, and that's where I want to go next too. Stuck With You has been it's been a some say a cult favorite. Well, I like to say it's just been a favorite. What was the thought behind Stuck With You? How did that come about?
You know what? I used to see a lot of hashtag relationship goals for different couples that were celebrities or power couples out here in LA. And some of them I knew personally, some of them I knew, friends of theirs, or I've heard their stories throughout the interviews or books. And we put hashtag relationship goals on so many things, but sometimes we don't understand all the work that goes behind that relationship, the struggle behind that relationship, the work that goes behind that relationship. And I just wanted to show, I wanted to do a show about marriage and relationships and just give a different perspective of a marriage on the rocks and how they're fighting to be together. The couple, Candace and Lavelle, they are in love with each other, but don't know how to love each other. So we're basically going on a journey with them as they work to hold on to their marriage while holding on to what they feel is important, which is their brand in the limelight.
And, you know, Patricia, one of the things that I've heard about you constantly when your name is mentioned, they say that your films, your work, it promotes love and it provokes change. Is that always the goal there?
Absolutely. I love love. I'm fortunate and blessed to be in love with my husband. We just celebrated 15 years of marriage. And
congratulations.
Thank you so much. And love stories are the stories that inspired me as a writer and creator coming up. So it was really important for me to just share stories that allow us to reflect on love, to understand perspectives between how we as men and women engage with each other. And also for me, my love's inspired by, you know, God's love towards me. So to be able to have a man that loves me in that manner is a beautiful thing. So just if I can show a little reflection of God's love and what it is that I do, then I'm winning. Yeah,
and you have done period pieces, which have brought some serious acclaim for you, and they span from the 30s to the 70s, like Love's Holiday, A Harlem Love Story. You're like an old soul in some ways. I'm sure you've heard that. What drives you to go back? I mean, you know, you talk about these period pieces. Not everybody thinks about those today.
I loved the Harlem Renaissance. I don't even remember how, but I used to watch a lot of old black and white films from the 1930s starring like Cab Calloway. And I loved Cabin in the Sky and Stormy Weather. And I loved a lot of the poets and authors of the Harlem Renaissance. Zora Neale Hurston's one of my favorite authors. And so pulling back was important to me. Love's Holiday is a special story because it was about a woman who was fighting the civil rights movement while being torn between two loves in her life. The one that she should be with and the one that she was loyal and committed to. So it was a way for me to merge everything that I'm passionate about, which was our history. It took place in Philadelphia, and also just love and Black love. So that was a really cool one. I produced it on my own with, you know, my husband and I executive produced it through my company. And then Kenny Lattimore came to one of my plays, and it was in a small, you know, probably 60-seat theater. He loved it. And he said, this has to be on a larger platform. More people need to hear this story. So he personally invested in my play so that I can do it in a larger theater out here in Baltimore. I mean, not Baltimore, in LA. And we did more shows. We got 5 NAACP nominations and walked away with the win. So Kenny believed in it. He said, I really feel like you should have more attention. I feel like this could be an award-winning project. And he was right. I'm so grateful to Kenny Lattimore for his investment in me. But it was really cool because she also worked with the NAACP. So it was a special piece for me, really exciting. But it spanned from that one, Love's Holiday. I'm sorry, the one I just was referring to was Love So Deep. Love's Holiday spanned from the 30s to now, and that took place in a Harlem brownstone in New York. The same family passed the brownstone down to different generations. So you see the different generations living in that one brownstone. So that was Love's Holiday. And the one that Kenny Lattimore came on board with was Love So Deep. So they're all encompassing Black love and history.
Dr. Chavis.
Well, that's a great journey you've had. Can, you know, again, Patricia, we represent the Black press of America. Can you share with our listening audience how important it is for African Americans for us to tell our own stories and to plead our own cause? Or tell us, in your career, you found how beneficial and rewarding it is when we get a chance to write, produce, but at the end of the day, tell our own stories.
oh, it's a blessing. It's tremendous because it's our experiences. You know, I get to encompass things that I've experienced as a youth, sitting around, you know, my uncle's kitchen table where he's talking to all these grown Black men about, you know, politics and about, you know, history and love and different things. I get to include reflections of the women in my life that have positively influenced me and tell these stories from an authentic place. It's a beautiful thing to be able to tell it through our eyes and still have a universal tale that everyone can relate to, because our stories are everyone's stories. So I feel like the more that we take hold of our stories, the more that we do whatever we can to tell our stories instead of just waiting for someone to provide the opportunity, the further we get along. I started with a camera, shooting my web series with a camera my husband bought me for Valentine's Day because he didn't want me to wait any longer for someone to give me an opportunity. And that camera led to me shooting my web series, and that web series got the attention of, at the time, the network was UMC. Now it's bought out by AMC, and now it's called All Black. And they picked it up, but they wouldn't have picked it up if I didn't pick up the camera, if I didn't start writing the stories that I wanted to tell and the type of stories that I wanted to see. So we have more power than we think when it comes to telling our stories. And the more we do it, the more others see it and believe in our ability to be able to do it.
Very good. Well, congratulations on your success.
Thank you so much. I'm very grateful, especially to All Black, for the opportunity to do my series. This series got me my first Emmy nomination for writing the series. And I'm just really grateful to God for every door he's opened, and just looking forward to seeing all that he has in store. This is still just beginning. I have my first film coming out September 7th on BET that I directed, called Twice Bitten, starring Lisa Ray and Lettucey. So I'm really excited about that. And I just had this spring my first film that I've ever written for network television, called Favorite Son, and that's also on BET Plus if anyone wants to check that out. And all seasons of Stuck With You is currently running on All Black.
Patricia, how do you keep up with all of that?
Listen, by the grace of God, and balance. My husband, Jeff Jones, is amazing. I have twins, a twin girl and boy, Jeffrey and Trinity. And I share this because sometimes people feel like you can't do it. You can't live your dream. You can't pursue the things that you really want to do. But if you have a support system, if you have the will and you know God's calling you to it, you can do it. So I am a mom. I'm a wife. I've been homeschooling through, part of COVID until I brought in some help because I had to work and be on set. And, I just do it. I'm called to it. I cannot not do it. So I just really love to encourage people that, it's never too late. I started writing full time after working in the nonprofit sector for over 13 years. So I had a full career before I started doing this. But while working my 9-to-5 job, I spent my evenings producing my plays. I use my money from my 9-to-5 job to rent theaters so that I can do my plays. I connected with other artists who were passionate about the arts as I was to come on board and do plays with me. And I've worked with Emmy nominees, Emmy winners. I've worked with Oscar winners. I worked with Margaret Avery. One of the pictures you flashed up was my play, She Won't Let Go. And Margaret Avery starred in that play. And she didn't know me from Adam, but she loved my pitch. She loved the story. And she was like, I'm in. And that was one of my first plays. In this picture you have here, I have Edwina Finley. She was a guest host. We have Kelly Jenrette, who is an Emmy nominee. We have Gabrielle Dennis, who played Whitney Houston on the BET Whitney Houston story. Man, there's so many people in that picture. But these are artists. In this one here, you have Michael Beach. You have Wesley Jonathan. These were working actors that came on board to work with me in my black box theater plays that I was writing, directing, and producing just because I had a dream and I had a vision. And they believed in me and said yes. But they wouldn't have said yes if I didn't take the chance and ask, hey, Michael Beach, as I was working as an assistant on another set, would you be interested in starring in one of my projects? And he didn't turn me down. He started along with his daughter, and he's never done a project with his daughter before, so it was really special. And that was one of my historic pieces, Love's Holiday. So you just gotta go out there and try it. Like, if God said you can do it, then why tell yourself no? Someone else is gonna tell me no, but I'm not gonna tell myself no.
Well, our mysterious Facebook user who wrote the other note writes another one. We now know who he is. He says, "Thank you, Miss Cuffie-Jones, for keeping our history of love alive in the view for all to see." That's our publisher down in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Bobby Henry of the West Side Gazette. Bobby, your name does not show on your page anymore for some reason, but thank you, Bobby. James Wright of the Washington Informer, Patricia, he's asking, do you work with young people?
You know what? I have worked with young actors as part of my projects. I've worked with young people all of my life. My mom, Gail Cuffie in Baltimore, has a nonprofit and does a lot of work with young people. So that's been what I've done all my life. For 13 years, I worked with the YMCA, and I was a regional director who ran youth programs, art programs, health and wellness programs for adults and families. I ran a teen program. I had a teen center that I started. And so that's been my whole life. I'm still working on what type of programs I would want to do to really bring young people into the arts. But I really like doing that through the nonprofit sector because I love supporting companies and organizations that want to help young people think beyond their environments and really expand and reach. I have a cousin, Mike McCormick in Baltimore, who's a teacher, and he's currently trying to do goodie bags to greet all the students coming back to help them have less anxiety and really encourage them to be more mindful of their environment. So I'm trying to get people to donate to him to help with what he's doing. So young people are always going to be a part of my life, but I'm definitely looking for opportunities to elevate that with the platform that I have now.
And Patricia, real quick, we started the show again this morning by showing a compelling story of the coronavirus and folks getting vaccinated or not getting vaccinated. When you go on set, what's the requirement for the sets that you're on as far as vaccine or wearing masks? What have you encountered?
So I have not been on set since a lot of the newer mandates have been out where they're requiring people to be vaccinated to work in certain environments. But prior to that, because I was shooting during the pandemic, we followed union guidelines at the time. So we had a lot of protocols in place. I had a COVID officer on set, 2 of them from, the one that wipes and cleans every single thing down that we touch all day throughout the day, to those who are literally like the police on set, making sure that we're keeping, 6 feet apart, wearing our masks, keeping the proper distance. Of course, it's challenging because, it's something we had to get used to and adapt to. But we were all very careful and cautious. By the grace of God, I've shot 2 projects since all of this has gone on, and I haven't had any on-set issues or had to shut down because of an occurrence on set. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of extra work, but it's worth it. It's important because we want to keep the industry going. We want to continue to tell stories and bring entertainment, because I feel like we all can use a little smile right now. But it does take a lot of work, and yeah.
Well, Dr. Chavis, your closing thoughts with the NAACP Theatre Award winner and Emmy nominee Patricia Cuffie-Jones?
Well, certainly, Patricia Cuffie-Jones, we congratulate you, we salute you, and please know that the Black press will continue to support you. And also, I'm glad that you are focused on love. Love transcends all.
Yes,
and
sir.
You and your husband and your family, you epitomize not only Black love, but you epitomize God's love. So thank you. Thank you so much. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. That means a lot coming from you. And look, I do it for the people, and it's, challenging because, I'm an independent artist. I don't have a huge machine behind me. I have, my husband, he helps do some of my marketing. I have a marketing coordinator, Tina Tila Farrow. And, I'm able to do what I do because of the love and support that I get from people out here that believe in me, from my family back home, who helps me spread the word and make sure that, you know, when I was in the newspaper, that everybody, like literally, I think my mom went to everybody that I know, my elementary school, my high school, to make sure they had the newspaper, because she wanted, you know, those who have, you know, been a part of my life know that I'm doing okay. Not everybody can say that they're living their dream, and, you know, I'm not at all where I want to be, but I'm so grateful to God for where I am. It is truly
Yes.
a blessing. So I'm grateful. There have been a lot of people that have sown in me in a lot of ways, that have brought me here. So thank you for that.
Well, we
You're
thank
welcome.
you.
God bless.
And you can read about Patricia, her story, at blackpressusa.com and many of our member newspapers. Don't forget to check out the NNPA and the Black Press of America's TikTok at NNPA Black Press, and make plans now to join us for the NNPA Leadership Reception September 16th at virtualnnpa2021.com. You can sign up now. As you can see the flyer there, Congresswoman Cori Bush, Senator Cory Booker, Dr. James Hildreth, Senator Raphael Warnock, and Allison Felix is her name, the Olympic champion who broke all these records, Dr. Hilton, who is on the NNPA's coronavirus task force. All these individuals, these fantastic individuals, will be given awards at the NNPA's National Leadership Reception September 16th. So join us for that. And don't forget, it's the weekend. So on Sunday, watch the Chavis Chronicles on PBS TV and PBS World, starring that man right there, our president and CEO, Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis Jr. And let it be known, don't watch the clock. Just do what it does. And we will see you on Monday.